Hello, everyone. Welcome to day one of the Love Hard Challenge. I'm so happy to have you here, but I will say it's kind of like a bittersweet happy. I say that because obviously you are here because you have a challenge, you're having a struggle, whether it's in your marriage, in your relationships, at work, just loving yourself and you're looking for some guidance and some help in that challenge with that challenge. So I say it's bittersweet because, of course, I would love for everyone to just be truly living their best life and not struggling or not having those challenges. But if we flip that, right, and I think it's always great to kind of flip these thoughts and give it a positive meaning or a positive twist. And the reality is that if we don't have challenges and struggles in life, we don't grow. It's really the way that we're able to get stronger in life when we go through those challenges. It's just like working out and building our muscle. I just believe that struggles and challenges kind of build the muscle of the brain and the muscle of the heart. So find a way to just embrace that struggle and do things like this to learn to kind of overcome or learn how to work through the different issues or the challenges that you're having. So today we're going to talk about forgiveness. And I truly believe that this is where it begins in a relationship. And sometimes when you are struggling, I think a lot of times when you are struggling in your relationship and there's all this arguing and fighting and you're feeling really lonely because the communication has been broken down and there's no understanding, and you find yourself in a relationship that either A, your spouse says, I don't know that I want this anymore, or I want a divorce, or I'm moving out, I want to get separated. And you're kind of wondering how you got there. You see the progression, you see over the years how you did get there, but it's just not where you envisioned yourself. You obviously didn't get married so that you would be in this position one day. So it's hard no matter which way you look at it. But I will say that in learning that the process of forgiveness is true freedom, first and foremost for you. I found that when I started to really start digging and diving deep in what was breaking down in my marriage, and as I've shared that I was married for 10 years and went through a divorce after 4 kids, and that was hard. And my second marriage, when we got separated after almost 7 years, I had to figure out what was going on. I had to figure out why, this was happening. And I quickly learned that first and foremost, I was always so hard on me. I was disappointed in me first. I was usually pretty quick to say, well, Carrie, you messed this up or you messed that up. Or the flip side, I would point the finger and blame other people for things that was happening. So in really looking at that and diving deep, I had to realize that I was carrying so much guilt just for feeling like maybe I could have done better, been better. I felt guilt over just putting my kids through all this stuff. I just had a lot of guilt, and this guilt that I was carrying was basically, it was me not forgiving myself for the mistakes that I had made. And in turn, learning that if I can't forgive me, it goes back to like, if I can't love me, if I can't respect me, the reality is that we teach other people how to treat us. So if you lack respect for yourself, if you lack love for yourself, and you lack forgiveness for yourself, these are key things that basically you're going to teach your spouse, your coworkers, your boss, other people around you. And then you kind of sit back and you wonder why you get treated so badly. And it really, the reality is, it starts with you, it starts with us. So this exercise is hard, but I want to encourage you to begin to go through the process of forgiveness. So get a piece of paper, your journal, whatever. I say have a separate sheet of paper, because you need to start writing down all the areas that you haven't forgiven yourself for. And you're going to do the same thing for your spouse. You're going to do the same thing for anyone else in your life that you feel like you've been holding on to stuff. And this is really about you finding freedom and about freeing yourself and freeing your spouse from whatever they've done to you. Now, my little side note to this is, if you have been experiencing any kind of abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, this is where, for me personally, and I would just encourage you, it kind of, you go through the process of forgiveness. I think this is important no matter what you've been through, but then it's a different type of conversation in terms of whether you should continue in this relationship. But if that's not the case, which I hope it's not, going through this process of forgiveness is something that begins to free you, and it begins to free your spouse and people around you from kind of this bondage of pain and hurt that they've been held to, whether it's by you, themselves, whatever it is. But write out on this piece of paper everything that you've been holding on to, everything that has hurt you, all the pain that you've experienced, and start with yourself. Go move on to your spouse, your partner, and then finally look at other areas or other people in your life that have contributed. And I want you to write all of this out. Now, it's a tough exercise. You may be really determined to just kind of write it all out today, and that would be awesome. Do it. But if it takes you a couple days to kind of process and just kind of write everything out and really dive deep into this, do that, because this is a really, really important part of this challenge. So go through the process of forgiveness, again, for yourself, for your spouse or your partner, and others. And once you've completed this list becomes the effort list. And I try not to use bad language. I won't say I'm perfect with it, but it's your forgive it list. So this is the list that you should have at the top: forgive it, or I forgive this, however you want to call it. Write these things out, and then after each thing, once you've written out, maybe leave a blank line, leave some space. But basically, you're going to express forgiveness for yourself, to yourself, and then for others. And if you have an opportunity to speak with the person directly and just let them know that you just want to let them know you forgive them. And also, the second part of this, or the other part of this, is asking them to forgive you for anything that you've ever done to them or any hurt that you've caused or pain. And once you can go through this kind of process of release, it really is a daily thing, by the way. Every day you're kind of going through the process of forgiveness. Sometimes things come back up and get stirred within you, and it's just important that you kind of go through that process of letting it go. I've let it go. I've had people who have burned this in their kitchen sink, in a fire pit. They've shredded it. I've done this exercise quite a bit with people. So it's really just a process of releasing. And so I just encourage you to go through this. And it's a hard one. I'm going to be honest, it's a hard one, and I know it is. So do your best with it. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message, and I will definitely be sure to respond to you. But thank you again for joining. Thank you for being brave and just joining in. And I just hope and pray that I will serve you and meet you exactly where you are. And I believe that I can. So let me know again if you have any questions. But I wish you all the best today, and just be strong. It's a tough exercise today, but forgiveness is for you first and foremost. It frees you, okay? So begin to walk in that freedom today. All right, be encouraged. Have an awesome rest of your day. Bye-bye.